Of Data Wiper tries to frame researchers in Bleeping Computer. The article was published by Lawrence Abrams at 8:26 p.m. October 30th, 2022. A new and destructive Azov ransomware data wiper is being heavily distributed through pirated software, key generators, and adware bundles, trying to frame well-known security researchers by claiming they are behind the attack. The Azov ransomware falsely claims to have been created by a well-known security researcher named Hasherzade and lists other researchers, myself and Bleeping Computer, as involved in the operation. The ransom note named restorefiles.txt says the devices that are encrypted protest the seizure of Crimea and because Western countries are not doing enough to help Ukraine in their war against Russia. Here's the ransom note. This ransom note lists Hasherzade as the person behind the ransomware attack, but there's a slight red flag here with this. It also lists VK Intel, Demon Slayer 3035, Malware Hunter Team, Lawrence Abrams, and Bleeping Computer. Lists all of them. But whoever created this put some text in German, English, and Ukrainian or Russian, one of the three languages, in multiple languages here. But puts the reason, it says, "Why did you do this to my files?" Then to make things embarrassing, someone else, like the person behind this, puts some German text right down there. It's completely put on went on a complete ramble about things in the ransom note. But then automatically there's a bit of grammar, broken English. The person that made this malware put the reason the West doesn't help enough Ukraine doesn't help with Ukraine, or should say, doesn't help enough with Ukraine. It just puts doesn't help enough Ukraine, which is very bad grammar bad grammar there. Bad grammar and spelling error, rather. The, Now, the ransom note tells victims to contact me, Bleeping Computer, Hasherzade, Malware Hunter Team, Michael Gillespie, or Vitaly Creams on Twitter to recover files, falsely implying that we are part of the ransomware operation. To be clear, those listed in the ransom note are not associated with this ransomware being framed by the threat actor. Therefore, we unfortunately do not have the decryption keys and cannot help. Furthermore, there is no way to contact the threat actor to pay a ransom. This malware should be treated as a destructive data wiper rather than ransomware. Unfortunately, the victims have already been started contacting Bleeping Computer for help recovering files, and as much as we'd like to help, there is no known way of helping at this time. While the threat actors claim they are doing in support of Ukraine, Bleeping Computer knows of a Ukrainian organization affected by this data wiper. The wiper takes its name from the Ukrainian Azov Regiment, a controversial military force that allegedly associated with neo-Nazi ideology in the past. This is not the first time threat actors attempted to frame security researchers for their malware. In 2016, the Apocalypse ransomware operation renamed one of its variants to Fabiansomeware after Fabian Wosar. In 2020, one of the Maze ransomware developers released an MBR locker. I meant to say locker. I almost stumbled up there. Claiming it was made by Vital Creams. What we know about the Azov wiper. In a new campaign started over the past 2 days, a threat actor appears to have purchased installs through the smoke loader malware botnet to deliver the new destructive Azov wiper. Malware Hunter Teams also pointed out about this. Hasherzade's already spoke about this. That Hasherzade says that I'm not involved with it or any other ransomware. It's a common practice among cybercriminals to try to frame security researchers. I got newsflash for the cybercriminals. Cybercriminals are very stupid idiots that try to frame somebody for their wrong. They try to frame somebody else for the wrongdoing of the cybercriminal. The cybercriminal behind the Azov ransomware stupidly tries to frame Bleeping Computer, Hasherzade, and others behind it when in reality the criminal is at fault. They're just trying to blame the cybersecurity researchers to get away with it, so they look bad and the criminals don't, when the criminals are in the wrong this whole time. They're just trying to cover up their tracks to make it look like the cybersecurity researchers started it, when they didn't. Smoke Loader is a malware botnet that other threat actors can rent or buy installs to distribute their own malware-infected devices. Smoke Loader is commonly distributed through websites pushing fake software cracks, game modifications, and cheats and key generators. Over the past few days, Smoke Loader has begun delivering the new Azov ransomware along with other malware virus totals such as the Redline Stealer information stealing malware and the Stop ransomware. Leaving computers aware of victims being double encrypted first with Azov and then with Stop ransomware, Smoke Loader delivered both simultaneously. The initial ransomware executable virus total will be dropped under a random file in the Windows temp% folder when executed. Once launched, the wiper will copy C Windows System 32 MSI exec.exe to C program data RDP client.exe virus total and patch it to also contain the Azov wiper. Additionally, the wiper may be configured to launch when Windows starts using the following registry key: HKLM software Microsoft Windows current version run Bandera quote unquote equals C program data RDP CLI or RDP client.exe. It is easy to fight this malware by just deleting the registry key, and or it would be very easy to try to fight it if you exactly knew how to time it right to stop the malware from starting. That registry key and the wiper will also scan the drives. Well, actually, I should say this: the wiper would wipe the hard drive of the computer in its entirety, making it near impossible to recover data. But the wiper will now scan all the drives on the computer and decrypt any file that does not have the .ini, .dll, and .exe extensions. The malware only targets any other file that does not begin with ini, DLL, or exe extensions to begin with. When encrypting the files, it will append the .azov file extension to the names of encrypted files. For example, 1.doc is encrypted is renamed to 1.doc.azov as shown below. Files encrypted by the Azov ransomware data wiper. In each folder that is scanned for files, a wiper will create text files named restorefiles.txt that contain a message from the threat actor as shown previously in the article. This article is spawned directly in a text file called restorefiles.txt, but the threat actor goes completely, it's got broken English in some parts of this. And at the bottom part, it says here, this actor is very crude. This, of course, a previous version of the wiper found by Malware Hunter team used a different ransom note with a much darker message right here. The Azov data wipers had two variants, version 2 and version 1. Version 1 shows a darker message that completely has a very weird, cryptic, dark message to the person that got encrypted by it. While the ransomware will be analyzed by researchers for weaknesses in the encryption, at this time the ransomware should be considered destructive as there's no way to contact the threat actors and recover decryption keys. We will update this article if a method is discovered to recover the files for free. However, this data wiper encrypted your data, you were likely also infected with other malware such as information stealing Trojans. Therefore, you should immediately change the passwords on your online accounts, especially those sensitive in nature such as online banking passwords and email accounts and password managers. That's basically what happened. The malware creators decided to blame the security researchers of creating this malware when the security researchers know that they do not, I repeat, the security researchers know better not to do any kind of malware creation due to legal laws and cyber crime laws in effect permanently, so they know better not to. Basically, the cybersecurity researchers are the good people that are helping to fight cybercrime, but the cyber criminals, the bad guys behind this, decide to frame researchers, even though this is not the first time. And the Azov data wiper has given two different messages. The older versions gave a more darker message that's it's got poor grammar, and it's got a cryptic message that's very dark and mean. But in the first part of the article, you can see that the criminals wrote the restorefiles.txt, the new version that has a bit of a broken English where they didn't put They didn't really put the reason the West doesn't do much of anything to help Ukraine. They didn't put that like that. They just typed that up and put it as is. Something tells me these threat actors that make types of ransomware don't actually speak English. I'm assuming English isn't their first language, which is why. I assume so. I assume that either English is not their first language or something. Like there's no telling of who was behind this particular ransomware that blames researchers and Leaping Computer. Other than that, this is William Armstrong. I will see you next time. Bye bye.